Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Human Factor. I'm Vicki Hutson. Well, have you ever thought about the number of position classifications and the different steps and grades in your organization's departments? Take, for example, the Public Works Department. You probably have several classifications for your maintenance workers and equipment operators, and all the positions have steps and grades associated with them. Having a compensation system like this can be burdensome and also expensive to administer. But what if your organization decided to consolidate the department's classifications and all like positions were compensated equally? And those positions were compensated equally regardless of the amount of time an employee has spent in the position. Well, on the surface, it may sound somewhat unfair, but GSTN found a city in Florida where this type of compensation plan has been put into place. They call it the Single Salary Pay Plan.
Your organization's compensation plan is costly to maintain, creates burdensome layering, and provides few opportunities for promotion. What can be done about it? Well, your organization may want to consider developing a single salary plan like the city of Okeechobee, Florida. In 1987, Okeechobee had over 400 position classifications for a workforce of less than 80 people. Today, there are only 20 position classifications. This is because City Administrator John Drago came up with what is called the Single Salary Pay Plan.
In the past, most of those classic pay plans were predicated on what they consider to be cost of living or tied to rate of inflation, which are economic indicators. Now, most of the time with economic indicators, it depends on what indicator you use, and it depends on who's developing the specific number. This particular pay plan is market driven. It basically says, if I go out to the marketplace, what does a public works worker position worth in the marketplace, both private and government? Now, considering that we're government, we have to compete with other governmental agencies the size of us, from a workforce and from a population standpoint. So therefore, pay adjustments are predicated on the market value of the position, and then the adjustment is made according to that number.
The plan consolidates positions and compensates all like positions equally, regardless of the amount of time an employee has spent in the position. The plan also eliminates climbing the ladder and enables the city to make salary increases on a smaller scale rather than issuing flat across-the-board increases. The annual Florida League of Cities salary survey is used to determine the dollar amount Okeechobee pays each position classification. Here is an example of how the Single Salary Pay Plan works.
If a police officer is making $25,000 a year, and if we use the Florida League of Cities salary survey for cities of our size, and the survey comes out to be $26,000 a year, then that officer would get a $1,000 pay adjustment. Because if I went out to the marketplace, I should be able to find police officers, cities of our size, for $26,000. In order to address the theory that the longer I'm in an organization, the more worth I am, which is not true because there's never been any personnel studies done to prove that theory. We have developed what's known as a service bonus program, and that is basically to reward the employee for being with the city for X number of years. The bonus is an annual bonus given on their anniversary date, and the bonus can be structured any way the municipality would prefer to do it, predicated on the dollars that's available. This particular bonus that we have is for every 3 years of continuous service, you get $300. So in years 1 and 2, you get 0. In year 3, you get $300. In year 4 and 5, you get $300. In year 6, you get $600, and it keeps going.
Okeechobee's employees have been pleased with the pay plan, but because some employees were being paid more than their position reflected in the survey, they were red circled. Their pay was not adjusted until the League of Cities salary survey caught up with their current salary. However, they were eligible for a service bonus according to the number of years they had worked for the city. Okeechobee employees Lydia Jean Williams and Lola Bell Parker tell us how good it is to work on a set salary instead of working for a merit raise.
When you're on this pay plan, your position is paid and you just do your job. You do not have to worry about making sure your department head is kept happy to the point to where your merit might be involved. And so to me, it's just, you don't have to worry about it. You know your salary is set.
I agree with the setting of the salary. You know how much you're going to be making when you come to work for the city. You don't have to wonder if at your anniversary date if you're going to get a 2% increase or maybe no increase or whatever. You know your salary is set at least for that budget year, as long as you perform your duties and you do your work and everything. So to me, that's a major plus.
Department heads appreciate that they're no longer required to give merit raises as well. This is based on several reasons. Performance evaluations were not being uniformly done across the board. Selective enforcement was being practiced, raises were being used as a disciplinary tool, and employees were consistently comparing salaries. Larry Mobley, chief of police for Okeechobee, explains why having a single salary pay plan relieves some of the stress associated with managing employees in his department.
It takes the pressure off your raises. You have a lot of pressure on you when you are going in trying to figure up raises. I guess it's human nature, but in the past, it happens everywhere that some people may get a 4%, well, I don't like him quite as good, I'll give this one a 3.5%. It kind of stops that. It's given by the administrator. The administrator makes up the salaries, and it's a one-man show for, as far as the salaries go. When we first started this concept, I had officers been with me 10, 11 years, and shortly thereafter, officer been with me 2 years making the same amount of money. It took a little time for it to come around, but everybody did. Everybody seems to be pleased with it.
Although it took 3 years to implement the pay plan, the city now realizes $100,000 per year cost savings and has not had to raise property taxes to maintain service levels.
With our pay plan, we're able to develop pay spreads between positions. For instance, if we want a $5,000 pay spread between police officer and sergeant, we can develop that, and this pay plan allows you to maintain it. Simply because we do not give pay adjustments on a percentage basis, it's on a lump sum dollar basis, and it's in increments of $1,000. Let me give you an example. If a janitor was presently making $14,000 a year, we look at the salary survey, and the janitor's, that particular position is supposed to be paid $14,886, then we'll give the janitor a $1,000 pay increase. Because historically we know when we go to look at the position the following year, it'll probably be right on target, therefore the position will not be eligible for a pay adjustment. The nice thing about the pay plan is, because it's market driven, and each position gets looked at individually, there's, every year not every position will be entitled to a pay increase, simply because it's market driven, not by economic indicators. And that's a cost savings to the city.
James Kirk, mayor of Okeechobee, explains the comfort city employees find in the single salary pay plan.
Our people here knows that their salary is going to be based on their job title, and that it's going to be a competitive salary, and I think our salaries are very competitive for our area. And they realize that they don't have to worry about merit pay being involved. They don't have to worry about does their immediate supervisor like them or dislike them. All they have to care about is doing their job, and they know the pay is going to take care of itself.
So, what should you do to find out if a single salary pay plan could easily be implemented into your organization? Here's what Okeechobee's pay plan originator suggests.
I would probably tell them to take one department and analyze it from the single salary concept versus the way that they're doing it now, just to see if there is a cost savings, because I think a lot of them are going to be looking at it from is there a cost savings? I would also have them look at it from the standpoint is how much extra time and effort is it going to free up their payroll staff from not having to develop these complicated matrix systems. So this pay plan is basically you're in and you're out. There's not a lot of studying involved. You don't have to do a lot of survey work. I mean, you have to take advantage of these other governments doing all that work for you, because salaries is not a scientific method. I mean, you know, it's a boundary method, and as long as you understand that you're within an acceptable boundary range for that position, then it becomes very easy. As far as the ones that say, I still want evaluations, my recommendation to them would be not to do individual evaluations, but to do department evaluations, predicated on certain goals and objectives that the manager wants to set for the department. Therefore, it becomes a team effort to meet the goals and not an individual effort.
Value systems change over time, and in order to be responsive to the needs of their people, organizations have to reorganize themselves and become more service-oriented, not only for their citizens, but for their employees as well. If you'd like more information on Okeechobee's single salary pay plan, you can contact City Administrator John Drago at the address shown on your screen, or you can reach him by phone in area code 813-763-3372. GSDN would like to thank the City of Okeechobee, Florida, for contributing to today's program. And that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Human Factor.